2 weeks after our wedding, I found myself standing in the driveway in the rain, crying in my car and asking God a question I never expected to ask so soon. Why did you let me marry this man? Hi, my name is Minister Faith, and I've been sharing my memoir, His Story Through Me, The Aftermath. I am going to continue from where I left off. What kind of relationship is this? I had entered marriage believing I understood the man beside me, but suddenly I felt as if I were standing in a story whose meaning I could no longer read. I kept asking myself that question, unable to land on anything clear or comforting. 2 weeks into the marriage, I was already learning what it felt like to be lonely beside my own husband. There were no plans to reconnect after the funeral, no tender words, no reassuring gesture, just silence wrapped in confusion. That night, I sat on the edge of the bed, crying, stunned by how lost I felt. How had I gotten here? In the shower, I crumbled beneath the water's weight. My tears blended with the stream, and I cried out to God, not eloquently, but with desperation. Lord, what is this? Where am I? Show me what I'm not seeing. It felt like I had leaped from deep water straight into fire, and yet I was determined. I had to believe there was meaning buried in this mess. I had to teach the next day. I needed to collect my thoughts for the sake of my students, for the sake of my calling, but inside I was unraveling. Jasper and I had been in the middle of a heated conversation when he got the call. His father was gone. The argument started cold. The tension didn't. The following days blurred together. Jasper didn't want to go to his father's funeral. I couldn't fully understand why, but I knew it went deep. Between J2 and I, we persuaded him to go. I helped him arrange a hotel room near the family, something close, convenient. He wanted space for his son, his children, and for me, for us. But the room wasn't what I expected. We shared space with his family. Shared space with his family. There were no quiet moments between husband and wife. No privacy, no new beginnings. I didn't understand the man who once spoke constantly about intimacy, who now didn't even seem to want to be alone with me. That night, the room finally grew quiet. One by one, the conversation faded, doors closed, and the hallway light dimmed. I slipped into bed, exhausted from the long day. For a moment, I thought Jasper might reach for my hand the way he used to during our courtship. Instead, he sat on the edge of the bed, scrolling through his phone, the glow from the screen light lighting his face. I waited. A few minutes passed. Then he laid down beside me, turned towards the wall, and the room fell into silence. I stared at the ceiling in the dark, wondering how two people could lie inches apart and still feel so far away. We had been married less than 2 weeks. We hadn't even spent A whole week under the same roof. And here I was, still waiting to feel chosen and waiting to feel wanted. I found myself talking to the air again and talking to God and talking to James' memory. Don't compare, I told myself. This is not James. But it was hard not to remember how James couldn't keep his hand off me, how his affection had overflown without effort or question. Jasper had once seemed the same until the moment it mattered. Now, nothing. I kept wondering where I had gone wrong. Was this grief? Was it distant? Was it me? Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a dream fulfilled is a tree of life. Proverbs 13:12. I was heartsick, but I still believe in the God who fulfills dreams, even when the in-between seasons are confused and painful. I still thought he was with me in the silence, in the disappointment, in the hard times, and the more complex questions. When Jasper stood at the pulpit, something in him changed. The hesitation I had seen before was gone, and his voice carried across the room with quiet authority. His stepmother had asked him to say a few words at the funeral, and he did more than that. He honored his father's life with dignity and strength. Despite everything, I oversaw him. The man who had struggled even to show up now stood with authority, grace, and composure. Whatever he carried about his father, he still chose dignity. I could see it in the face of his family, how surprised they were, how proud. It was clear he hadn't been around much. They clustered around him afterwards, asking questions, eager for updates, almost as if trying to gather the years they missed. He introduced me to many of them, and they were kind. I smiled and nodded, still trying to make sense of my role in all of this. Was I the new wife, the outsider, the blessing? We left right after the repast and made our way back to J2's house, where Thanksgiving plans had already begun to simmer in anticipation. J2's wife had to work on Thanksgiving Day, so the family decided to celebrate on the following Saturday instead. We all chipped in. I volunteered to make the turkey, my turkey, the kind that's seasoned thoroughly inside and out until every bite tastes like love and memory. I took pride in the bird. I suppose it felt like something I could control, something I could bless. Some of my children were planning to come. That alone felt like a miracle. They were trying, we were trying, and trying to become a family amid so many changes and history. J2 had been instrumental in making it happen. He reached out to his new siblings like a true older brother, gentle, inclusive, rising to meet the weight of it all. You could tell Jasper had raised him with strength and expectation. My children took their time, but eventually they came. They were kind, warm even. It made my heart smile to see my grandson and J3 gravitate towards one another. Boys close in age, cautiously testing the water of new friendship. Watching them reminded me of the dreams James and I once shared. Having grandkids every summer, giving our children a chance to rest and reconnect with their spouses, letting the cousin build bonds that would last. Jasper and I had the same vision. Between the two of us, there were 6 grandchildren now, and in those small hands and running feet, I saw a glimpse of a future we both longed for. Hope was rising. But the next morning, that vision cracked. I woke up early and got ready to minister at the rehab center where I serve. The service started at 10:30 and we were over an hour away. I slipped on my shoes, brushed down my dress, and stood in front of the moment for a moment, whispering a prayer. God, use me, speak through me. Let someone hear your voice and not mine. But as I turned around, I noticed Jasper still sitting on the edge of the bed, moving slowly as if something were weighing him down. Are you getting dressed? I asked, trying not to sound anxious, though time was slipping away. He looked up with tired eyes and said, you should go without me. It doesn't make sense to drive all the way there and come back to J2's. I'm going to stop here. Precious Father, I thank you. I thank you for the patience in this season. I thank you that even in the confusion, I sought to love Jasper. I wasn't understanding him, but I trusted you. Thank you for your mercy and for your grace. I pray, dear God, that someone might be healed through my obedience to you. It's in Jesus' precious name I do pray. I dare you to trust God. To God be